clusters of memory are reactivated and ready for research.
Work days had begun. Rias spent most of his time on the lower deck, next to Aya. Every time the engineer began to speak, the pilot felt stillness behind her words. And it drew him like a magnet. Even though Aya now looked like a jumble of memory blocks and neural nets, and there were constantly blinking diodes, creaking of coolers and swarms of micro-automatics around this pile, and here, more than anywhere else, Rai felt himself close to a living being. Digitization and a long period of solitude had an ambiguous effect on Aya. Her answers and phrases were going deeper now, and she often preferred to keep the silence. The traces of humanity were lost on the verge of its entry into the star cluster level, and the war with the spillway's civilization was involved. Their ships were destroying entire worlds and stellar families indiscriminately. Planetary and star systems simply disappeared without bursts of energy, as if they annihilated or fell into a mythical anti-world. During the spillway's invasion, the Orion cluster was thoroughly riddled, and the solar system disappeared with all of its inhabitants. The understanding that the Earth the young pilot knew when he left his home orbit no longer exists had slowly crept into his mind earlier. But now, everything fell into place at once. Rai grew up in the orbital station in Earth's magnetosphere. For long months, he was on duty, alone at the bridge of the Adrian Nemax, until it was his turn to sink into an stasis. Now, after several myriad years, the hope of seeing his friends, and people in general, had melted away like a puff of smoke. The loss of home and deafening loneliness weighed heavily on the pilot. Rai dived into the past, where he felt cut off even more, or surfaced back with plans for revenge that kept him awake for a long time.